Okay guys, so I'm going over the review problems for our test. So the first problem which I put was from page 844. So again, we'll be jumping a little bit, but that's fine. Number 37, page 844, number 37. Okay, what we need to do here. Factor the higher degree polynomial. Okay, so we have x to the power of 4 plus 10x squared plus 9. So what happens when you have exponents, which are, again, here in the middle you have x to the second power, here you have x to the 4 power, so they multiples of 2. You factor this using AC method. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. A is equal 1, B is equal middle coefficient, which is 10, C is equal 9. So step 1, you're going to multiply A times C, you're getting 1 times 9, you're getting 9. Next, you're going to find two integers, which by multiplication gives you 9. And the same two integers by addition has to give you B, which is 10. So I'm using AC method. So what's going to work? 1 and 9. Okay, so next you create two parentheses. This is easy case. So since A is equal 1, you don't have to do to find GCF of each parenthesis, because that GCF is equal 1. So you're going to create two parentheses, okay? And look what happened, okay? Originally you had x to the power of 4, so you have to split that in half. So you're going to have x squared in each. Or you can always remember what you put in the parentheses in what you see in the middle. So in the middle you see x to a second power, so you're putting x squared here and x squared here, okay? And then we have plus the first integer, which is 1, times x squared plus the second integer, which is 9. And that's it. We just have to factor higher degree polynomial. Next one, 834, number 14. So next one, page 834, number 14. 834, number 14. Okay. Factor completely. Okay. So you have a squared minus 10a plus 9. So here you're going to use AC method also. Okay. So A, again, don't forget that, again, this example, if that for some reason bothers you, it's the same as x squared minus 10x plus 9. A, when I'm talking about A, I'm talking about the coefficient which you see in front of A to a second power. So it's equal 1. Okay. B, it's the coefficient which you see in front of the middle variable. So that will be negative 10. And of course, C is always a number which is by itself, which is 9. So we're going to multiply A times C. So we're getting 1 times 9, which is 9. And we're going to find two integers, which by multiplication gives you 9, which is AC. And you're going to find the same two integers, which by addition gives you middle coefficient, which is negative 10. That's your B. So you have to check what's going to work. Okay, so -9 and -1, -9 and -1. How I quickly know that both will be negative? Because look what happens. C, it's positive, and B, it's negative. Since B, it's negative, both of them has to be negative, okay? And also, again, when you multiply two negative numbers, that will give you that +9. So we find them. And this is also nice, easy case. Since A is equal 1, you don't have to worry about GCF. So in this case, you just create two parentheses. Again, don't forget that your original problem has variable A. So what you're putting in each parenthesis, variable A. So we're having A plus the first integer, which was -9, times A plus the second integer, which was -1. And that's it. That's our final answer. Okay. And we're putting A in each. Okay. What you have in the middle, that's what the variable which you're going to have in each parenthesis. Okay. Next one for the review was page 835, number 32. So page 835, number 32. 835, number 32. Okay, here you need to factor completely. Also, factor completely. And be sure to factor out GCF. So that's what they're saying. Be sure to factor out GCF when necessary. Okay, so number 32, you have 12y minus 160 plus y squared. So this is quadratic. First, what you want to do, you want to rearrange that. So you want to put y squared first, then 12y, and then minus 160. So you always want to keep that in form ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so AC method. So factor using AC method. So A is equal 1, B is equal 12, C is equal negative 160. Okay, so A times C, that will give us 1 times negative 160, which is negative 160. Next, you have to find two integers, which by multiplication will give you negative 160. And the same two integers by addition will give you b, which is 12. So we need to check what's going to work here. 20 and negative 8 will work. Okay, in this case, look what happens. See, it's negative, which means one of the integer will be negative. Okay, so 20 times negative 8, it's negative 160, and when you add 20 plus negative 8, you're getting 12. So here the same scenario. Okay, since A is equal 1, we don't have to do GCF. Okay, so you create two parentheses. Again, don't forget that our equation has y's. Okay, and in the middle you have y. So that means in each parenthesis, you're creating two parentheses. In each parenthesis, you put in y. and y plus the first integer, which is plus 20, times y plus the second integer, which is negative 8. And that's our final answer. Okay. Next one. That was 32. Next one which I assigned for the review was page 828, 828, number 6. 828, number 6. Find the greatest common factor. Okay, and we have 20, 52, 32. So again, greatest common factor is the greatest integer. In this case, integer, which can divide all three numbers. Many times, students can quickly identify what number can divide 20, 52, and 32. It's the biggest one. Also, be aware that your greatest common integer can't be higher than your lowest number. So it cannot be something bigger than 32. In this case, answer, it's 4, but let me show you how to do it in case if you don't see that. So you can always do the prime factorization of each number. So if you will take 20 and divide by 2, you're getting 10. 10 divide by 2, you're getting 5. And like you see, 2, 2, and 5, they are all prime numbers. So you can rewrite 20 as 2 to a second power, since 2 repeats twice, times 5. And then I'm going to do the prime factorization of 52. So the first prime number is 2. 52 divided by 2, we're going to get 26. 26 divided by 2, that will give you 13. So you can rewrite 52 as 2 to the second power times 13. And I'm going to do the same thing, prime factorization of 32. You take that 32 and divide by first prime number, which is 2. Then that will give you 16. 16 divided by 2 will give you 8. 8 divided by 2 will give you 4. 4 divided by 2 will give you 2. So you're going to stop when you have all prime numbers, which we do. So you can rewrite 32 as 2 to the power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 to the fifth power. So the greatest common factor is the factor which repeats in all three numbers, and again make sure pick the lowest exponent. So all of them have 2 which repeats. So you have to pick the one which is the lowest exponent, so it will be 2 to a second power. So GCF 2 to the second power, which is 4. That's our final answer. Okay. If you Okay, I'm going to pause that video and I'll continue in a second. Okay, so next one is page 880, number 32. Okay, that's the one with the right triangle. So all the time you see the right triangle, that means Pythagorean theory. C, here you have 90 degree. This is 3, this is 4. So you need to find the missing side. So here you need to find the missing side. Okay, so you're going to use the Pythagorean theory, which is a squared plus b squared, it's equals c squared. A, it's 3, that's always the, not always, but it's just easier if you guys will study that way. That's the shorter leg. B, it's the middle side, which is 4. C, it's hypotenuse, the longest one, which we need to find it. Okay, so we're going to plug it in. You're going to plug in 3 for A and 4 for B. So we're having 3 to a second power plus 4 to a second power. That will give you c squared. We're getting 9 plus 16 equals c squared. 25 is equals c squared. That's not your answer. Make sure that you will solve for c. And to get c by itself, you need to take the square root of 25. Okay, so square root of 25, it's positive 5 and negative 5. However, you ignoring that answer because we talking about the side of a triangle, which is always positive. So when you're solving problems with the Pythagorean theory, you're ignoring that negative answer. Okay, definitely something like that on a test. So that was 880.32. 828, number 32. Page 828, number 32. 828. Eight 32. What you guys need to do here, factor out GCF. Greatest common factor. Factor out GCF, 32, and you have W to the third power minus 5U to the third power V squared. Okay, so here again, there is no GCF, no greatest common factor. Why? Because this expression has only W. The second expression has different variables like U and V squared. So there's no common factor. So there's no GCF. This expression is prime. When there is no greatest common factor, the expression is prime. Okay, that's it. We cannot factor GCF. 828, that was 32. 828, number 20. So page 828, number 20. 828, number 20. The same thing, factor out GCF. And in number 20, you have 16d to the third power plus 24d squared plus 32d. Okay, so to find the GCF, so first find greatest common factor from all those three integers of 16, 24, and 32. So think about the greatest integer which can divide 16, 24, and 32. So the greatest common factor will be 8. 8 can divide 16, 8 can divide 24, and 8 can divide 32. So we have it. Now, second, find greatest common factor using the variables of d to the third power, d squared, and d. So when you have variables, you pick the repeating variable to the lowest exponent. So in our case, the GCF between d squared, and d will be d. Okay, so the greatest common factor is, and you're combining both, 8d. Okay, so this is not the end, because they asking you here factor out GCF, so you will go to your original problem now. So we find the greatest common factor, 16d to the third power plus 24d squared plus 32d. Okay, you're going to put GCF, which is 8d, in front of the parenthesis, and now we need to fill in what's going to be in the parenthesis. So let's review how to do it. You take your first original expression, which is 16d to the third power, and you divide that by the GCF, which is 8d. And that will give you 16 divided by 8. That will give you 2. D to the third power divided by d will give you d squared. So that's how I end up with 2d squared. Next, we're doing the same thing. Take the second original expression, which is 24d squared, divide by GCF, which is 8d, simplify, so 24 divided by 8, that will give you 3, d squared divided by d, it's d. So the 3d will be in the parentheses, so you have plus 3d. And last one, take the last original expression, which is 32d, divide by GCF, which is 8d, and you have 32 divided by 8, that will give you 4, and d will cancel. So that 4 will be in the parenthesis. And now let's just rewrite it. So the final answer, it's 8d times 2d squared plus 3d plus 4. And of course, you can always check if you will distribute that expression, you should end up with your original problem, which is 16d to the third power plus 24d plus 32, because they are equivalent. Okay, so that was 828, number 20. Next one, 879, page 879, number 28. 879, number 28. So here we have the problem with a rocket. I'm not going to copy the problem, but you guys should read it. A rocket is launched starting up into the air from the ground with initial speed of 64 feet per second. The height of the rocket is given by the equation. H is equal negative 16 t squared plus 64t. Okay. T, it's time in seconds. Okay, so what you need to do, find the time when the rocket is ground level. So find time when the rocket is at ground level. Ground level means that h is equal to 0. So what you need to do with this problem, you need to replace h with 0 and solve for t. So note, replace h with 0 and solve quadratic equation. For t. Okay, so this is what we're solving. We're solving negative 16t squared plus 64t is equal to 0. Okay, so what I suggest to do it here, okay, this is nice, easy quadratic equation. You don't need to use AC method. I will divide all by negative 16 first. So you will end up with t squared, and then we have 64 divided by negative 16. You're getting negative 4 equals 0. Okay. Next, to solve this one, factor. Again, why I'm not solving with AC method? Because there's no c, there's no coefficient which is by itself, no real number which standing by itself. So factor out GCF. So the GCF will be t, so that will give you t minus 4 equals 0. And now solve it using zero product property. So to solve it using zero product property, you take each factor and you make it equal 0. And we're getting t equal 4, t equals 0. T equals 0, you're going to ignore the solution because we're talking about the time, so there's no way that that rocket after launching can hit ground level after 0 seconds. So it doesn't make sense. However, t equal 4 seconds definitely makes sense. So this is your answer. Okay. Okay. Let me stop this video and I will record the new one for you guys with more problems because I don't want to create a video way too long. So stop recording.